In the winter of 1916, along a frozen stretch of the Western Front, the world had gone quiet. Snow fell softly over the tangled fields of wire and shattered earth, covering the scars of war as if nature itself was trying to forget. But deep beneath that snow, in a long muddy trench that cut across France like an open wound, a young soldier named Thomas Hale clutched his rifle and listened to the distant thunder of artillery. This is his story. Chapter 1. The New Arrival. Thomas had been at the front for only 3 days. Before that, he was a village schoolteacher, thin, soft-spoken, the kind of man who corrected homework with careful handwriting and believed the worst. Pain he would ever feel was a paper cut. Now he stood knee-deep in cold mud, the smell of gas in the air, rats scurrying over abandoned helmets. A veteran beside him, Corporal Mason, broad-shouldered, his face carved by years of shell fire, smiled grimly. "Welcome to the line, lad," Mason said. "Here, time is measured in shells." And the quiet before them. Thomas tried to smile back, but his hands trembled. Chapter 2. Letters Home. That night, Thomas found a moment of silence. The moon peeked through clouds, illuminating the trench like a pale ghost. He pulled out a small notebook and wrote a letter to his mother. "I am safe. The men here are kind. It is cold, but I have grown used to it." He stopped. Should he tell her the truth? About the bodies half buried in mud? About the smell that never left, even when he pressed his scarf tight around his face? No. He underlined "I am safe" once more and closed the notebook. Corporal Mason watched him quietly. "Write the truth for yourself," Mason said, "but give them hope." Thomas nodded, not fully understanding, but he would soon. Chapter 3. The Raid. Just before dawn, the captain gathered the men. "We move at first light. A small raid. In and out. Find their positions." Thomas felt his heart sink. He had trained for months, but training grounds were clean, organized, and safe. No one screamed there. Now, as the sky turned gray, the men climbed over the trench wall. Thomas followed, every step swallowing his boots in mud. The battlefield was silent, too silent. Then came the first shell. A blast tore through the earth, throwing Thomas off his feet. His ears rang, his vision blurred. He tasted soil and smoke. Mason yanked him up. "Move, lad, stay with me." Bullets hissed through the cold air. Shapes, German soldiers, rose from their trenches like shadows. Thomas fired blindly, not knowing if he hit anything. All he could feel was the pounding of his heart and Mason's hand dragging him forward. Chapter 3. The Raid. Just before dawn, the captain gathered the men. "We move at first light. A small raid. In and out. Find their positions." Thomas felt his heart sink. He had trained for months, but training grounds were clean, organized, and safe. No one screamed there. Now, as the sky turned gray, the men climbed over the trench wall. Thomas followed, every step swallowing his boots in mud. The battlefield was silent, too silent. Then came the first shell. A blast tore through the earth, throwing Thomas off his feet. His ears rang, his vision blurred. He tasted soil and smoke. Mason yanked him up. "Move, lad, stay with me." Bullets hissed through the cold air. Shapes, German soldiers, rose from their trenches like shadows. Thomas fired blindly, not knowing if he hit anything. All he could feel was the pounding of his heart and Mason's hand dragging him forward. Chapter 4. The Bunker. The squad reached a damaged enemy bunker. Inside, flames flickered from a cracked lantern. A wounded German soldier lay against the wall, clutching his stomach. He couldn't have been older than Thomas. Thomas lifted his rifle, but froze. The young German raised a trembling hand, not in defense, but in plea. Mason's voice softened. "War makes enemies out of boys who should have been friends." He pulled a bandage from his pack and handed it to Thomas. Go on, help him." Thomas knelt and wrapped the wound. The German soldier whispered, "Danke." Thank you. For a moment the war fell away. There were no nations, no uniforms, just two frightened young men in the ruins of a world they didn't create. Ne? Chapter 5. The Last Light. The squad turned back, but artillery began again. The sky flashed orange as enemy shells fell like angry stars. A blast struck near Thomas, throwing him backward. His lantern, his only guiding light in the smoke, shattered. Darkness swallowed everything. "Thomas!" Mason shouted. Thomas tried to answer, but his voice was drowned by explosions. Then, through smoke and snow, he saw it. A faint golden glow. Mason's lantern. It swayed as the corporal fought through the chaos toward him. "Stay with me," Mason yelled. "Follow the light." Thomas crawled, dragged himself, stumbled toward the glow. Every second felt like eternity, every breath a battle. Finally, Mason grabbed his arm and pulled him behind a collapsed wall just as another shell struck where Thomas had stood. The blast lit the battlefield in white fire. When the light faded, Thomas realized Mason had shielded him with his own body. The corporal lay bleeding but alive. "I told you," Mason whispered with a painful smile. "Follow the light." Chapter 6. Dawn of a New Day. Hours later, the shelling stopped. Reinforcements arrived and carried Mason to the medic station. Thomas walked beside him, holding his hand tight. "You saved me," Thomas said. Mason shook his head lightly. "No, lad. You saved yourself. I just showed the way." As the sun rose over the silent battlefield, turning the snow gold, Thomas realized something. War may destroy cities, families, and youth itself, but in the darkest moments, small acts of courage, of humanity, shine brighter than any lantern. He opened his notebook again. This time, he wrote the truth. War is a fire that tries to consume everything. But today, I saw a different kind of flame, one that refuses to die. He closed the notebook, took a deep breath, and looked toward the trench, ready for whatever came next. The end.